Trust me, I'll give you 5 situations or 5 reasons your smartphone can hands down win over your DSLR. Number one, the smartphone are much less bulkier and they are more mobile, meaning you can carry them everywhere. You do not need an extra bag. You do not need a whole backpack full of DSLRs and lenses. And by DSLR in this comparison, I also mean mirrorless cameras, medium formats, the advanced point and shooters, the mega zooms, everything. So all these versus the smartphone. So just see the weight. This Honor 6X or my Galaxy Note with which I am recording this video, these weigh about 150 grams to 200 grams depending on the size of the phone. My D750, the body only weighs about 780 grams including the battery, plus this Tamron 15 to 30 mm weighs another 1200 grams. When you compare it, it actually 2 kilo versus about 150 grams. Reason number two, because of reason number one, the smartphones are much less noticeable and much more inconspicuous than a DSLR. Now remember those events, the music events or probably an IPL match or probably in a popular tourist destination where you were not allowed to enter with a big DSLR and lenses, or you have to pay extra for that. But for smartphone, you never have to pay extra. Number three is the incredible number of quick filters that are available on smartphones, both on iOS and Android, and maybe the Windows phone as well, compared to a DSLR. In DSLR, you get some in-camera filters, but they are very pale and they're not even, innovative. They've been running there for like 10 years now. But in smartphone with various apps like, Instagram itself has I think more than 20 filters. You get thousands of apps which only have filters, and nowadays people do not actually just see the resolution. They do not zoom in every photo and see the resolution. What they see is how creatively you modify a picture. One of the things I love specifically while vlogging, like your live vlogging thing, is that put both my front and my rear cameras on my Galaxy phones into use. It's not available exactly in all the cameras. For example, you cannot do that with an iPhone, but with some phones you can activate both the front and the back camera. Now what it does is that it's a great way to shoot with your rear camera, shoot the actual scenario, but also let your expression show. Maybe you have an opinion about what's going on in front of your phone. You can say that in that small window through the front camera, or maybe you're taking a bungee jump where you actually showing the depth, but in that small frame people can see your expression. This is a very nice way to vlog, very nice way to express your concerns, your excitement, your happiness, etc., that a DSLR or a mirrorless or a medium format or a mega zoom or a point and shooter cannot do. Another extremely popular and easy and real-time thing that people do nowadays are this Facebook Live, this Instagram Lives, etc., which the DSLRs or the dedicated cameras simply cannot do, mainly because of their software. With the phones, with the Android or an iOS phone, any phone basically where you can install a Facebook or an Instagram app, or some cameras like, let's say, the Galaxy Note 5 for example, has the camera has a built-in YouTube live mode. Even YouTube gives you a live mode. So to do a live video, you cannot use a DSLR or a bulky camera. You have to use a phone. Some people might argue that you might be able to communicate, you might be able to connect a phone to the DSLR, but you cannot ever stream in real time from a DSLR or from a mirrorless camera to your phone and then get it to the public outside. Last but not least, and my personal favorite of all these 5 reasons, is that with a smartphone, the basics, with a smartphone, you simply get more shooting opportunities because you can carry it everywhere. It's always with you. You can carry 2 smartphones with you, for example, and you can go anywhere. You can take it there. There are no laws that specifically prevent a smartphone unless photography is totally prohibited in an area. So in all probability, you get more shooting opportunities than a DSLR or a dedicated camera, which is, and that also means that because of this less noticeable feature and because of such a prevalent smartphone usage among the crowd, you actually do not make the subject conscious of your shooting him or her or it. What happens is that then you get the natural expression. Plus, because you get more shooting opportunities, you can take more angles, you can be more creative with your subject. So overall, I think this could be the single most important factor to ditch your DSLR or mirrorless cameras in situations where you just want to get more shooting opportunities. Having said all these 5 reasons, all these 5 situations, it's not to say that you can totally ditch your DSLRs, because ultimately what DSLR does best is what we do photography for, the quality of photos and videos. So when you compare that, a smartphone stand nowhere in front of a DSLR and or a mirrorless camera or a medium format, for example. And there are various reasons for that, and we'll probably talk about that in a separate video, but those are more common and more people actually know those because of the bigger sensor and because of the lenses available and low light performances and manual modes and blah blah blah. But yeah, these 5 situations are very specific to phones which are common, which are becoming very prevalent nowadays, and where you need a smartphone much more than your dedicated camera. Ciao.